In a couple of hours now, MPs will be voting on the controversial harmonized sales tax. Now, initially, Liberal leader Michael Ignatieff blasted the HST, calling it the Harper sales tax. Then last week, he said his party will support it, but not everyone in his party is going to support this. BC Member of Parliament Keith Martin is one of several Liberals who've opposed the tax from the start, and he joins me now from Ottawa. Keith Martin, you said you were going to negotiate. You didn't want to vote on this today for the tax. So have you made up your mind? How will you be voting today?
I will not be there for this vote. I've told the leadership of my party that I cannot support the HST in its current form. There is another way to implement solutions that will mitigate the negative effects in my province on certain major sectors like the Restaurant Association, tourism, building sector, and also those of modest means who are going to get hit by quite a significant tax next year.
I want to talk about those alternatives that you're suggesting in a moment, but why not show up and vote against it as opposed to stay away?
Well, this is, Carol, a whipped vote, which means that all members of a party are obliged to vote the way the party wants them to vote. And so in essence, I'm going against that. So it's something that I feel very strongly about because the message is very clear from the constituents of my riding of Esquimalt-Juantefuca, but essentially I'm going against the will of the party.
Did the party make it clear to you that they wanted you to vote this way, or did they give you permission to leave the House during the vote?
Well, anytime a party leadership tells their members of the party that this is a whip vote, that means that all of the members are obliged to go and vote one way. This is not a vote of confidence, interestingly enough, but it is so important for the folks in my province of British Columbia. I felt compelled to not show up for this vote because I absolutely cannot. I cannot stand up and vote for the HST in its current form.
Right. Just to make myself clear, I was a little convoluted in the question. The last time we talked, you said you were negotiating with the party to get permission to not be there for the vote, possibly. Did you get that permission?
Well, I'm not going to get into the private conversations we have, but suffice to say, Carol, I just told my party that I was not going to vote for it. I was not going to support the HST, and I was not going to be there because I cannot sit in the House and stand up and vote for something that my constituents are so fundamentally opposed to, many of whom are going to get hurt by this.
Will there be consequences for you?
I don't know. Time will tell. Any time you go against the party and vote, that could happen. But the real issue is, why should members vote one way? No one suggests there should be anarchy here, but where there are very strong views in certain ridings, I think it's certainly our job when we sit in the House of Commons. I've got 120,000 people who also sit in that seat and have a voice too, and my job, my duty in a parliament that has to echo the voices of our citizens is to stand up there or sit there and certainly represent those voices, and that's what I'm doing.
What do you think the government could have done differently with the HST?
Well, when this first came out, I wrote an editorial piece that was published. It's on my website, that gave a path for the two senior levels of government to pursue, and they include amalgamating the GST with the PST only where the PST applies. So you'd have a true harmonized tax. Drop it 2 percentage points. Keep the $1.6 billion incentive that Mr. Harper's put on the table there for a year, so Premier Campbell can actually negotiate to implement measures that are going to not ensure that sectors of our economy and our citizens are not going to be harmed, because no one's listening to the single parent, the families who are just making it, the seniors who are just making it. Their voices aren't in this situation at all, and they're the ones who are going to get hurt. So this plan that I put forward, Carol, will enable both senior levels of government to implement those measures that will do no harm, which is a saying we have in medicine, and that should be applied here also with respect to this tax and the politics that we practice here.
All right, Dr. Keith Martin, thank you so much.
Thank you, Carol.
Okay.